Hey, welcome back to another episode of Tax Talk Live. Yes, we are live on YouTube, we're live on Instagram, and we are live on Facebook. And I just want to say thank you all for tuning in each and every single week, for coming back here with us every single week to tune in live to get the tax information. And so we really appreciate you all doing that. And we just want to make sure that we're giving you information that you can utilize, that you can apply now and be able to get immediate results. So we're going to go ahead and jump right into it. We're not going to do a lot of talking today. You all know what time it is, and it's time to get into Tax Talk Live. How do you navigate the U.S. income tax system more effectively? And so many of you all who've been with us the last few weeks, you all know that we are on understanding forms. These are very, very important forms. For those of you who are joining us for the very, very first time, please, by all means, go back, check out those other episodes, and then you'll be able to catch yourself up. So we're still on understanding forms. And today we're going to be diving into Schedule C. Absolutely taking a deep dive into Schedule C because this is a very, very important schedule for you business owners. So those of you who are business owners, who are entrepreneurs, who are investors, make sure you're paying very, very close attention. There's a lot of information that we're going to provide today for Schedule C. Now, if you're not yet a business owner, then you still want to stay tuned because it's a lot of information that can show you the difference between the tax code for business owners versus the tax code for non-business owners. So make sure you lock in with us. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. We're talking about the Schedule C, the Schedule C 1040. And so what is the Schedule C actually used for? What's the purpose? You know, what we want to understand, why do we even need the Schedule C? So the Schedule C, as we know, it's used to report income or either losses from a business that you operated or a profession you practiced as a sole proprietor. So very, very important here. You're reporting income and you're reporting expenses here for your business as a sole proprietor. And I want to make sure you all get this. So this is an actual return that you see here on the screen. So this return is an actual return from 2017 that was actually filed with the IRS, accepted, and actually approved to assist with that individual's tax return. So again, we want to focus on giving you information that's already been implemented that you can take right away and you can go ahead and do the same. So let's just look at this really, really closely. So who actually can utilize a Schedule C? So first of all, you have to have an activity that qualifies as a business. This is the very first thing. You have to have an activity that qualifies as a business. And so with that being said, an activity qualifies as a business if your primary purpose for engaging in the activity is for income or profit. Secondly, you are involved in the activity with continuity and regularity. So make sure these 2 points, very, very important, for the purpose of engaging in activity for income or profit. Secondly, you're involved with continuity and regularity. And so as we see here on the screen, there's a lot of information to get into. We're going to start at the top. It asks the name of the individual. You see that we have it blacked out because that's confidential. So the name of that individual is going to go in that first block where you see the blackout and you see the arrow. But then you see right below that, under section A, it's asking for the business or the profession. While we know that information is also confidential, this is an actual business. So that business name is actually there, and it's also blacked out. And then also over in column B to the right side, there's actually a code that's entered there as well, which is also blacked out for confidential purposes. So very, very important to make sure you have the required information filled when you're filling out the Schedule C. And so it may not be you, it may be your tax preparation expert, your CPA, tax attorney, whomever it may be. Just make sure that they have the required minimum information filled out. And then we go down to line number F, where it talks about the accounting method. This is very, very important here, where you actually specify your accounting method. So there's three options there. The first option is cash, which is selected for this individual. So they utilize the cash accounting method here on this filing. And then also the second option you have is accrual. And then third, you have the option to specify your accounting method. So very, very important to make sure that the appropriate box is actually marked. And then you have the question, did you materially participate in the operation of the business? And so there's only two choices here under section G. That's either yes, you did, or no, you did not. And again, I want you all to go back over to where it talks about, and I want to just move this really quick so you all can see it. I want to make sure you go back to where it talks about qualifying as a business. You have to make sure you're involved in the activity with continuity and regularity. And so making sure in section G that you actually participated is very, very important. And then you actually have here additional sections. We'll only touch on section I, which is marked here. Did you make any payments that would require you to file a 1099? And that's actually checked no for this individual. And so we'll move on in this actual Schedule C, where we jump down to part 1 and we start to look at the income. So I want you all to give this a very, very close look. And so part 1, where it talks about income, question number 1 asks about the gross receipts or the sales. So this is your gross receipts are your sales from your business. Okay. And so this is information you want to make sure it's very, very accurate that you're reporting for your business. So definitely check box number 1 for gross receipt or sales if you had any gross receipts or sales. Now, if your business did not have any gross receipts or sales, then you want to be aware of what's called the hobby rule. And there's information that the IRS provides that talks about whether or not your business is a hobby or whether it's a business. And so gross receipts and sales, that's a component that also connects with the hobby rule. So I want you all to take a minute, write that down, hobby rule, and go to the IRS website and be able to further research so you can understand what the hobby rule means. So there's also a number of other sections here. Section number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, all under part 1, income. And so you want to be able to provide the corresponding information to the requested column for that particular information they're requesting from you. As we can see here for this individual, it's all blank. So there was nothing reported for this individual. Now, let's jump down to the expenses, which is a huge, huge part. And I want to make sure, you all really understand this is one of the most important parts when it comes to business expenses, when it comes to things that are appropriate for you to be able to deduct. So I want you to understand when it comes to those business expenses, We want to be able to look at business expenses that are actually going to be able to be ordinary and necessary. So ordinary is just in the course of you doing business. Necessary is just applying to, these are a necessity for you to operate your business day in and day out. So ordinary, these are things that, these are expenses that are going to happen in the course of your business. And necessary is, these are mandatory. These are an obligation that you have to your business to be able to operate and function effectively in your business. And so there are a number of things that we can touch on here. Let's start with number 8, where it talks about advertising. Advertising is a business expense. As we see here, this individual doesn't have advertising expenses. Also, you have in number 9, you have car and truck expenses, which this individual actually had $5,758 worth of expenses. And then we go further. We look at commissions and fees. We also look at contract labor. We look at things like depletion. We look at Section 179 expenses. These are more related to depreciation of business property and items that you purchase. And then we look at line number 14 that talks about employee benefit program. So if you have any type of employee benefit program for your employees, then you want to make sure that you capture that. You have insurance other than health. Insurance other than health can be a number of other insurances. This can be professional insurance. This can also be errors and omissions insurance. There are a lot of different business insurances that you may have. You may even have business property and casualty insurance. You may have business loss insurance to protect you in the event that you have a loss. General liability insurance. So there's a number of different insurance categories that you may have as a business. So I see that we have, a number of other expenses here. For example, like number 16, where you have interest. And so you have mortgage interest, and that's something that is paid to the bank. And also you have other interest in column B, 16B. And so when you look at interest, I want you all to think about things that are associated with your business. For example, if you have a business loan, for example, if you have a fixed a business loan, or you have a term business loan, then there's most likely some interest associated with that. Also, you want to think about, if you have a business credit card, you also want to think about fees as well as interest that's attached to that. When it comes to also other types of interest, you want to think about, if your business has a line of credit, then you also want to be able to think about the interest that's attached to that. So just keep those things in mind. You don't want to leave any money on the table at all. So you want to make sure that if you have any interest that's non-mortgage interest, you want to make sure you capture it in 16B. Also, number 17, you want to have legal and professional services. So for those of you who's been following us the last previous episodes, the last 3 weeks, you guys may recall me saying that when it comes to your tax preparation, as an individual, you're not able to utilize tax preparation services or tax planning services as a deduction. That's no longer allowable as an individual. But quite naturally, as a business, you have to ask yourself, does tax planning, does tax preparation services, do that fall under ordinary and necessary? And so as you see here, whether those are CPA services, whether those are legal services from an attorney, who may be advising you on several legal matters, how to structure your business, how to set up your business, how to incorporate your business, and on and on. I want to make sure you understand number 17, very, very important. And you don't want to miss that. So if there's CPA services that are there, if there's legal or other professional services, consultants or whatever it may be, you want to make sure that you capture those. So very, very important, you all. I don't want to. I want to make sure you all don't miss this. Believe me when I tell you, if you have a business or if you've not yet set your business up, this is one of the most important. This is one of the most important sections that's going to be in your tax return, Schedule C, and it's going to come down to Part 2 expenses. So stay with me. We're going to continue here. And one thing I want to point out, if you all see up there at the top where it says Part 2 expenses, enter expenses for business use of your home only on line number 30. So I want to make sure we separate something here really quick. So the expenses that we're putting here, these are the ordinary and necessary business expenses. This is not going to be your home office. That's going to be captured separately, and that's going to be captured on line number 30. But also there's a separate form that's utilized. And I'll go ahead and drop that form for you to write this down. Very, very important. Go ahead and write this down. It's form 8829. So write down form 8829. Go to the IRS website link that we gave you. And if you're not yet received that link, then we're going to show it to you here. Just stay locked in with us. We're going to show you where you can go and you can look up form 8829 and you can see what actually is being requested in terms of information there. So again, we're going to stay here with the business expenses on line number 18. So when we look at office expenses, you may have, your business may have an office, and those expenses that you have for that office should be captured there. Line number 19, if you have any pension and profit sharing plans, then you also want to make sure you capture any of those. Line number 20, and I know it may be a little bit difficult to see it here because this is an actual return that we utilized in 2017. As I told you all, we're going to make sure we're giving you things that have actually been implemented so that we're not sharing with you something that we think, or we're not sharing with you something that we hope is going to work. We're sharing with you a tax return that's been already filed with the IRS. It's already been accepted and it's already been approved. And this individual has already moved on and either received their refund and also went on to future tax years. So these are things that actually work. And I want you all to get this. So looking at line number 20, it talks about rental and lease. And so you have rental or lease on line 28. This is a vehicles, machinery, and other equipment. And so we know here this individual actually had a vehicle lease. And so that was a business vehicle lease. And I just want to put a pause right here really quick. So a lot of you all have been asking us a lot of questions when it comes to business vehicles. Business vehicles are absolutely 100% allowed. As you can see here, this individual actually had a lease and they're writing off the actual lease cost, which was $10,242. So you can see it here for yourself. It's already been done. So it's absolutely 100% allowed. Now, you can do that a number of different ways. So when it comes to a business vehicle, you can lease that business vehicle. That business vehicle can be leased in the business's name. Now, I personally recommend that you actually lease it in the business name if you're able to do that. If you have a good personal credit, you may have to be a guarantor on your business to establish that business credit if your business has not yet established business credit. So if you can utilize your business's credit, then this will only support your business's credit to be stronger by getting that vehicle. But if you can't and your personal credit is satisfactory, then you may have to be a guarantor personally for that business lease. Also, you can get a business loan to where you finance the vehicle in the business's name. Again, there are going to be different, different states, different areas, different requirements, different rules when it comes to credit and different things like that. What I want to say here is, as much as you can, try to establish your business credit as soon as you can, as early as you can, and utilize it as often as you can, because it's only going to help you strengthen that business credit as you go forward for things like credit cards, things like business loans, things like business line of credits as your business start to grow and mature. So we see here there's a business lease. Now, if you want to do that individually, so if you want to get a personal, if you want to get a personal loan, if you want to get that business vehicle under your name, you can do that as well. And it's a couple of ways you want to stay out of trouble. I want to give you all the ways that you're going to be able to stay out of trouble with the IRS. So if you purchase that vehicle under your name, it's with the assumption that you're going to have some sort of personal use on it. And that's why I recommend you purchase a business vehicle under the business's name, either through a business lease, which is my number one recommendation, or either two, you purchase that or you finance it under the business's name so that you can allocate that 100% to business use and you don't have commingling with personal use. But if you have to get it, and we all start somewhere, we all start at baby steps. So I'll be the first one to tell you, I had to establish business credit. My probably first two vehicles were actually in my name, and I actually had to record them by identifying personal use and also the activity for business use. And so record keeping is extremely important. You want to make sure you keep mileage for your personal use and you keep mileage for your business use, regardless of which accounting method you're going to use, whether you're going to use the mileage method or whether you're going to use the actual expenses. Regardless, track all of your mileage for business or personal use. Regardless, you'll thank yourself later if you ever get into an audit with the IRS. So make sure you're very diligent about record keeping. That's going to keep you out of trouble. That's going to keep you out of the IRS's radar. And if you're ever in an audit, you'll have the smoothest audit that you've ever seen. So you want to make sure that you do accurate record keeping. And so just a couple of things I want to touch on. I know I'm sticking here a little bit more than usual, but there's a couple of things I want to make sure that you all get here this morning. So when you have that business vehicle, if you go back and you look at section number 9, where it talks about car and truck expenses, then this is where I want you to pay attention to for that business vehicle. If you actually do actual expenses, then that column actually represents where it has $5,758. That actually represents fuel. So that's gasoline that's used for this business vehicle. Also, that's maintenance. So that can be your oil change. That can be a full service, whether that's, flushing all of your fluids, whether that's a transmission fluid change, whatever type of maintenance on your vehicle, tire rotation, whatever it may be, uh, that can be included as car and truck expenses. Also, you have to make sure you have insurance on that business vehicle. And so that insurance is also a tax deduction. So make sure every single thing that's associated with that business vehicle is captured as an expense in section number 9. So I want you to correlate section number 9 with section 20A. And I want you to make sure that you capture all of those expenses and you don't leave anything on the table. So when you add those two together, you're looking at roughly $16,000 of expenses that you're able to deduct in your business from a business vehicle. It's a huge, huge, huge expense, and you want to take advantage of it. And again, you want to make sure you're doing this legally, because all of these expenses, again, I want to go back to the IRS's terms. These are not my words. These are not Frugal Millionaires' words. These are the IRS's words. Ordinary and necessary expenses. So making sure these are ordinary and necessary for you to do business. And as we can see here, this individual was able to get $16,000 in deductions. So let's move on to 20B, where we look at other business property. So we see here a very large number, 18,316. And so we want to jump into what that actually means. So we know that this individual was actually renting office space. So this individual actually had office space that was being rented. And so that 18,316 is actually that meeting space that was being rented. And so some of you all may fall into this category, whereas you're just getting started off the ground and you have a home office. You're not yet at that point to where you need a business office, and you're not yet at that point to where you need a designated meeting space. But from time to time, you may need to meet with some of your clients. You may need to meet with potential customers, potential service providers, or anyone who's doing work for you. You may even need to meet somewhere outside of your home in a face-to-face environment that's professional, so that your business can give off and portray the right image. And now we don't have to do everything virtually. So, there are a lot of very good hotels in your backyard that have very nice meeting spaces that you can go in and rent those meeting spaces for a one-time use. There are also a number of different cities that offer professional business spaces or cohabitat spaces that you're able to utilize as well. So you want to remain open-minded when it comes to utilizing meeting spaces. And so you want to exercise all of your options. And if you have to do that, again, record keeping. Make sure that you get a receipt from the hotel if you utilize a meeting room at the hotel, or if you utilize a cohabitation space. Make sure that they either send you a receipt or an invoice upon paying, so that you're able to provide that to your tax professional, so that you're able to capture those. So again, we don't leave any money on the table. Everything that you do in the course of your business, there's a way that it can be deducted. We just have to find out how to do it the IRS's way, which is legally. So moving on, we look at office supplies, and we see office supplies on here. Also, we see taxes and licenses. And so I just want to touch on that really, really quick when it comes to taxes and licenses. So there may be a number of things, and every area is different. Believe me, your state, your county, or if you're in Louisiana, your parish, it's all different. Even your local municipality, it's all different. So if you have anything regarding Secretary of State filing fees, if you have anything that's, a local, or either it's a county or a parish, clerk of court filing, so anything that the clerk of court mandates that you pay for your business or business license or filing or whatever the case may be, you want to be able to capture those licenses fees or filing fees in section number 23. Next, we move on to section number 24, travel, meals, and entertainment. A very, very another large column here when it comes to travel. And this is going to cover everything under your business travel. And there's a lot of things that you can cover when it comes to business travel. So business travel covers your flights if you're traveling by air. Also, if you're traveling by bus, you're able to write off the cost of your bus fare. If you're traveling international, like a number of folks that we deal with, they travel international. You may have some international airport services. You may have some passport or visa services that you have to cover. Also, you want to make sure you cover your lodging or your hotel stay or your Airbnb stay. Again, all of this is making sure that your business is operating legally under the basis of ordinary and necessary expenses. And so, if you're going to be traveling out of town um, for whatever reason, you may be traveling for a conference, you may be traveling for a workshop, you may be traveling for a business retreat, you may be traveling for a number of business things, you may be traveling to look at business real estate in a different city. Whatever your activities are, you want to make sure they're necessary and ordinary. Now, with that being said, of course, if you travel by air or you travel by bus, you may require a rental car, or you may require taxis to get you around, or even you may require car service, or either you may require an Uber or either a Lyft. So there's a number of different transportation methods, but they're all tax deductible. Record keeping. And I want to say this: documentation, ladies and gentlemen, is the number one thing that's going to be able to support you in having good documentation, having good receipts. Documentation is going to be conversation all day long. And if you're ever in an audit, they're going to want to see documentation. It's not a lot of things you can justify with conversation or verbally. They're going to need to see the documentation. So keep all of your receipts for your travels and making sure that you're able to get the appropriate deductions. So there's a number of things. I know I can continue to go further into these. I'm just trying to touch the surface just to give you all just the flavor of what you can, realize as real advantages. These are advantages for business owners that are not available to you as an individual. So I want to make sure you understand that as a business owner, these are advantages that separate you from individuals who are not business owners. So make sure you don't leave any money on the table. So I just touched on as well going for continuing education. So as a business owner, I personally like to stay educated. As you all can see, I'm very passionate about taxes. It's not something that just comes because I have a passion for it, but I educate myself. I stay up on the latest requirements, the latest legislation changes, the latest IRS forms. And so from time to time, I may attend a webinar, I may attend a seminar, I may attend a workshop, or I may travel to a business conference that's, talking about taxes, or I may even enroll in a course. I may even enroll in someone's course that's talking about taxes. And so these are all things that you're also able to deduct as continuing education. Again, you need to continue to educate yourself to remain relevant and also to remain above your competition in your field. So making sure that ordinary and necessary continuous education, you're taking advantage of that to stay on top of your field. Now, there's a number of other things that I just want to touch on that we didn't quite touch before I move here. And I know there's some things that I may not have touched on that a number of you all may have questions on. Please, if you have a question, please drop it in the comments. I'm going to try to answer as many questions as I can before we end this live. So whether you're on Facebook, whether you're on YouTube live with us, or either on Instagram, try to drop those comments so that I can answer those for you. So there's a couple of things. So if you're in the business whereas you need subscriptions, your business requires subscriptions. This can be surveys. You may have a feedback loop or a feedback mechanism where you need surveys. Subscriptions are also something that's deductible. Quite naturally, you want to be professional. You want your business to have a professional image. So you may go out there instead of getting a free email account with some of those free providers, you may want to go out there and get your professional email account with your name at whatever the name of your business is .com, and pay for a subscription to have your professional email, so that when you email folks, it's taken in a different regard versus if you're emailing them from a free email account that may has Yahoo or Gmail at the end of it. But again, I know we all have to start somewhere. I started with the free Yahoo account. Still have that account. Started with the free Gmail account. If you have to do that, you're not in a position to pay that subscription, then by all means. But if you are, I definitely recommend you go ahead and do that. Also, for web hosting or websites, those subscriptions are able to be written off. If you need software and programming, if you need Excel, if you need Word, if you need PowerPoint, if you need any of these programs, if you need antivirus software, all of these things are business deductions. Um, if you're living outside of the United States, like myself, and your business needs a virtual private network, also known as a VPN, to operate, then those subscriptions again are something that are also deductible. Also, when it comes to business expenses that are ordinary and necessary, that could be a cell phone. Also, that can be a voice over IP phone if you prefer to have either a home office based phone, or either you want to have a phone in your business with a fixed or hard line. And so you want to make sure that you utilize these expenses and you record all of them to your advantage. These are definitely things that's going to help you out. I know we talked earlier about line of credits for business. We talked about credit cards and we talked about fixed loans. Business bank accounts, don't leave any money on the table. If you have a business bank account and that account has a maintenance fee, that account charges you transaction fees, or if you travel out of the country and you have any international fees or things like that, you want to make sure those fees that are associated with your business bank account are also provided to your CPA or tax professional. And so I want to make sure you all get all of this. It's a lot of information. I'm covering as much of the larger items. There's no way, there's not enough time for me to cover every single thing here, but I do want to give you all a good number of the larger expenses to be able to look at. Now, for those folks who've been staying with us, those real estate professionals, those real estate investors, those folks who have a passion for real estate, then by all means, I want to make sure that you understand that real estate, when it comes to those property taxes, when it comes to that renter's insurance or either homeowner's insurance policy, you're able to deduct that. When it comes to maintenance, this can be a pest control service, this can be a lawn service, this can be repairs, whether you had to replace a hot water heater, whether you had to replace anything that broke down, repairs to the rental property, or even capital improvements. If you had to get a new AC unit, if you had to replace the roof, there's a number of different expenses for you real estate folks. Again, don't leave any money on the table. And so I'm getting to the end. I want to wrap this up. The bottom line is I'm here to show you all what's possible. While you may not think some things are possible, again, I want to go back to the fact that we're looking at an actual Schedule C that was filed in 2017. And this actual Schedule C from 2017 that was, utilized by this individual, you see here on line 28, they had a total of $60,000. $60,377 to be exact in terms of business expenses. So it's all about documentation, people. It's all about recording every single thing that's considered ordinary and necessary. for the sake of your business. And so I want to make sure you all get that. This is just based on this individual situation. So I want you to take that with a grain of salt. You can look at this and what we've discussed here to see what applies to you, but there's many columns that were left blank because they did not apply to this individual, but does not mean it will not apply to you. So your situation would be totally different. And I want you all to make sure you focus on your specific situation. We take learnings from this return that was already, filed with the IRS. It was approved, accepted. This individual received their refund and, they moved on. So we want to take the lessons that we can apply and get immediate results. But this is not in any way whatsoever saying that these are all the deductions that you may be eligible for. So I want to make sure you don't mix that up. So let's go ahead and move on. As I said, these are only for business expenses. These are not just for the home office. So there's also a couple of questions, and I'm about to jump to the questions. I see the questions coming in from Instagram, Facebook, and also YouTube. So I'm about to wrap this up so that we can get to a number of those questions. So I'm coming to your questions. Just give me one second. So I want to wrap this up by saying this. And I think this is a question, by the way, from Instagram. Which form is used for business use of your home office? So when it comes to your home office, I want you to write this down. It's form 8829. Again, that's form 8829. And this form is used for business use of your home. And so specifically, because I want to give you the right information from the IRS. Again, I'm not giving you any information from my side because we're only giving you what's going to be legal so that you can get actual results. So form 8829 is utilized to figure the allowable expenses for business use of your home on the Schedule C form. So you use form 8829 in conjunction with Schedule C. And so we actually don't have enough time to go into form 8829 today, but I want you to research 8829 and be ready to tune in with us next week. And I'm going to go over some of those home office expenses to make sure that you're able to deduct those. So make sure you stay tuned with us and you tune in with us next week. We're going to be talking about form 8829, which is expenses for business use of your home. All right, so let me go here. This is my personal website resource. Again, folks, I want you to understand, I only utilize the information from the IRS. I want to make sure you're doing this legally, you're doing this ethically, and you're filing what you're allowed to file. You're filing what's appropriate. I want to make sure we don't get caught up in anything that's unethical or not legal, because that can trigger an audit. And if you're ever in an audit, it'll be one of the worst situations you've ever put yourself in. So I want to tell you, though, you don't have to do that. There's a legal way for you to benefit. As a business owner, these advantages were written for you and me as a business owner. That's why we're teaching these to you, because I want you to do it right. I want you to do it legally so you can maximize, because there are more legal benefits than if you do it the other way, the wrong way, the illegal way, the unethical way. So make sure you tap into this website, irs.gov/forms-instructions. I use this website. You can look up the form 8829. You can look up the Schedule C. You can look up the 1040. You can look it up for the current year, for previous years. This website is a wealth of knowledge. It's a wealth of resources for you to be able to get your taxes right. And I want you to understand your taxes. I need you to stop depending on that person who's doing your taxes, I need you to start establishing some foundational information, some foundational learnings so that you can equip yourself. You can arm yourself with the necessary tools so that that person you're paying to file your taxes, you know how to properly oversee and manage their work and their quality of work. And I'll tell you this, there's a number of attorneys, tax attorneys, and CPAs out there. They're not all created equally. They don't all take the same amount of continuing education. They don't all have the passion for taxes. They don't all stay up on the latest and greatest when it comes to regulation changes, forms, etc. And I'm telling you that from personal experience. You don't have to make the same mistakes that I've made. I've had to fire over my course of the last nearly 2 decades. I've had to fire maybe about 5 or 6 different CPAs or CPA firms. And it's not something to brag about firing them. It's something to say they were not able to provide the right level of service that I needed for myself individually and for my businesses. So it's about professionalism. It's about being able to get the level of service that you need. So utilize this resource, this website, build up your knowledge, get you some foundational knowledge. Continue to tap in with us here at the Frugal Millionaires every Saturday. Tax Talk Live, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You should not miss it. This is free information. Don't miss it. So stay tapped in, build up your foundational information, and so you're better equipped to be able to have a successful tax return so that you can start leveraging the benefits. So I'm about to start hitting these questions really quick. We talk about Schedule C. There's a question on Facebook I'm seeing here. I'm sorry, this is actually Facebook and YouTube. It says Schedule C, Form 1040 is used for. So this form, Schedule C, as we talked about earlier, is used to report income or losses from a business you operated or a profession you actually practice as a sole proprietor. And so you want to make sure, I'm going to go ahead and hit the second question while I'm talking about this, but you want to make sure that your activity that you're engaging in is considered business activity. And how do you do that? You do that by making sure the primary purpose of your business activity is for engaging in activity that is for income or profit. So you're here to make money. It's simple as that. You're here to make money. That's the first thing. It's that simple. The second thing is that you want to make sure you are involved as the individual. You're involved in that business continuously, and regularly. So make sure with continuity and regularity, you're involved in that business. So on the day-to-day, day in, day out, you're involved in that business. So very good questions we're touching on here. Um, there's another question I see here from, this is from YouTube. A really good question, by the way, YouTube and Facebook. How to tell the difference? Oh, it's a really good question. I like this question. How to tell the difference between a hobby and a business for tax purposes. This is very, very important, and you want to make sure that you don't get caught up in the hobby rule. And that's basically a business that's deemed as a hobby by the IRS. And so how do you distinguish? So the IRS says that a hobby is any activity that a person pursues because they enjoy it with no intention of making a profit. So again, the IRS states that a hobby is considered any activity that an individual or a person pursues because they enjoy it without any intention of making a profit. Now, people operate businesses with the intention of making a profit. Many people engage, or they may start off in hobby activities that eventually turn into a source of income. So that's allowed. Maybe you started out as a hobby. Maybe it's a side hustle. Maybe it's a side thing. It's something that you like doing, but it turns into a source of income. So now you went from a hobby to a business. But if your business or if your hobby, let me make sure I'm saying this correctly. If your hobby, which is that thing you love, has no intention of making a profit or never showed a profit, then it's considered a hobby. It's not going to be considered as a business. So I want to make sure you're clear. Now, go to the website I just showed you all, and the IRS is going to show you these things. There's 11 things I need you all to research. So to help simplify, the IRS has established these 11 factors that taxpayers must consider when they're determining whether their activity is a hobby or a business. I won't go through the 11 here because there's a number of other questions that we need to get answered. So I won't go through those 11 here, but make sure you check out the IRS frequently asked questions website so that you can understand how to differentiate between a hobby and a business. And you can also check out those 11 factors that the IRS has listed when considering whether their activity is a business or a hobby. So I just want to answer um, two more questions. I just want to take two more questions as we start to wrap this up. Um, okay, so there's a question here coming from um, YouTube, and I see this question. So the question says, is there a legal process to loan your business with an LLC agreement? If so, can you describe it briefly? So, is there a process to legally loan money to your business? Yes, with an LLC agreement. So, there's a number of ways that you can actually fund your business. And that's the way I want to frame it. I want to frame it in the context of funding your business. So you as an individual can fund your business, and that can be funded through what's called a capital contribution. And so you're the owner of that business, or either you're one of the owners of that business, and you're able to make a capital contribution. Now, the second part of that question, it really needs to be specified very, very clearly in the LLC agreement. But I just want to I want to put the proper term on LLC agreement. So in the operating agreement, you want to specify how you are able to loan money to your business, and how that business, the terms of that, and how that's able to be paid back. But if you provide business, if you inject funds into your business, if you fund your business with a capital contribution, then quite naturally this capital contribution is going to be recorded on your behalf in your tax documents as well. So that's only one way that you're able to do it, and it is legally to fund your business. I started out funding my business through capital contributions. I started out with business loans. I started out with business credit cards. I started out with business line of credits. And as I talked about earlier, those type of tools, those type of funding mechanisms are also able to be utilized and leveraged also as tax deductions as well. So very, very good question. Last question, last but not least, I know this has been long, but I wanted to make sure we were giving really good information out to you all. And so I want to make sure you all really are benefiting from what you're receiving here every single Saturday morning. And I want you to make sure that you come back. If you thought about something throughout your week, if you thought about something throughout your day and it's not on Saturday, send us a message on Facebook, on Instagram, that we can also get your question answered to you. So once we're done with Tax Talk, it doesn't end there. We want to still answer your questions. So one of the questions here says, as you may know, taxes are very confusing and not everyone is great with numbers. or have a high level of interest in taxes? Do you offer any one-on-one support to individuals like me? So I want to say, first of all, I want to start off by saying I'm thankful for individuals like you that have the courage to say, hey, I need help. Hey, I'm not good at this. Hey, I'm not great at numbers. So hats off to you and your courage for asking the question. And that question has also been asked by a number of folks. And so this week, the team and I, we've been working on a very, very special program for you all. And it's called, I'll tell you about it now. It's called Tax Talk Premium. Tax Talk Premium is going to allow you all to get that support that you need, to get your specific questions answered. And also, it's going to put you in a conducive environment that's conducive to learning, to gaining more education about taxes, whether that's individual taxes and whether that's business taxes. Now, there's going to be two tiers that we're going to have for Tax Talk Premium. The first tier is going to be a monthly subscription. You'll be able to subscribe monthly, and that'll be $9.99 per month. Yeah, as you can see it there on the screen now, that'll be $9.99 per month to tune in with us. And also, there'll be a second subscription, and that second one will be an annual subscription. And so it'll be $99. Get this, we're making this so affordable that you can not do it. You can't afford to not do it. We're making it so affordable for you to be able to do it, so that you're able to get the necessary support that you need when it comes to taxes, simply because we've already done this. And so it's going to be $99, and that's going to be an annual subscription. And so I want to give you just a little bit of details before we end about it. So you're going to receive, as a part of Tax Talk Premium, you're going to receive exclusive content only for you. It's not content that we're sharing now on YouTube. So you're going to be receiving exclusive content, and we're going to have a question and answer session. So it's going to be a pre-live. So before we go live on Saturdays, we're going to have a pre-live Q&A session. That'll be for you who subscribe either monthly for $9.99 or either annually for $99.99. Also, we're going to instantly, the day that you sign up, we're going to instantly pair you with the support partner, because we understand the need, the necessity for support and accountability throughout your tax journey. So we're going to pair you up with a partner. We're also going to have mastermind sessions, and those mastermind sessions are going to be provided to you after the stream has finished. And also, you're going to have access to our Tax Talk private group. So we're going to be having a private group for Tax Talk Premium subscribers. And again, as I said, this is so affordable if you need help with your taxes. The information that we're providing you, yes, it's sufficient. Yes, it's adequate. But if you need specific strategies that are specific and unique to yourself, Tax Talk Premium is for you. And also, for the $99.99 annual subscribers, we're going to give you a VIP experience. Absolutely. We're going to give you a VIP experience, and this is going to be 15-minute one-on-one session with yours truly, me. So you're going to have a one-on-one session that's going to be 15 minutes to talk about your specific tax matters, personally or either business. Now, this is in addition to what I just mentioned for the monthly subscribers. This is in addition. If you pay the $99.99 for the annual subscription, this is in addition. Also, we're going to have a quarterly touch base group session with all of the VIPs. So you're going to be, again, in another private group. And so on a quarterly basis, we're going to give you more personalized attention and advice. Also, you're going to be able to participate with me Yours truly in those masterminds live. And then last but not least, you're going to have exclusive access to a VIP only a group. And so this is just a little bit of the highlights of what's coming. And I want to make sure you all register when it comes out. We're going to be rolling that out this upcoming week. So make sure when you see the announcement on YouTube, when you see it on Instagram, on Facebook for Tax Talk Premium. Again, Tax Talk Premium, we're going to have two tiers. That's on a monthly basis for $9.99 and also on an annual basis for $99.99. It's unbeatable, it's unmatched, and you won't be able to find this level of guaranteed tax advice anywhere else for this price point. And we're only doing it for a limited time and a limited number of subscribers. And so you want to make sure you tap into that. And so that's all we have this week. I want to say thank you to you all. The questions are getting better and better every week. I'm excited to be able to come on with you all. And so, again, thank you all for staying tuned until the very, very end. And also, I look forward to seeing so many of you all in Tax Talk Premium. It's a decision you won't regret. And check this out. If you have a business, you'll be able to deduct that. All right. I want to go ahead and end this right now. Thank you all so much for tuning in with me this week. This episode of Tax Talk Live has concluded, and we'll see you back here next week, same time, same place, 8 a.m. Saturday morning, Eastern Standard Time. So that's 8 a.m. every Saturday morning, Eastern Standard Time. And we'll see you on the next one.